Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly council meeting, October 17, 2022. I'd like to welcome my fellow councillors, Deputy Mayor McColeman, and Councillor McFeely is at a province, I believe, at a meeting, and Councillor Campbell is unable to be with us. Councillor Snow is online. Councillor Snow, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. And our viewing audience on YouTube, welcome, and I understand Colin McLean will be watching on YouTube, and members of the public in the audience tonight. So, and Brian Harlick is the acting Director of Human Resources and also running the controls here. So we'll continue on. We have JP, our Deputy, or acting CAO, and Kristen, our Director of Finance. So we'll continue on with the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Moved by Deputy Mayor McColeman and seconded by Councillor McDougall. All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Any conflict of interest declarations? I do not see any. Lights on. Minutes. Approval of the monthly council meeting minutes of September 20, 2022 and the approval of the special council meeting minutes of September 28, 2022 and October 4, 2022. Moved by Councillor Duran and seconded by whom? Councillor Adams. Any questions? All in favour say aye. Contrary nay. Carried. I just got a few things under course. A lot of things under correspondence, but we'll just narrow them down to a few here. We have the Remembrance Day service coming up on November the 11th for the service at 11 a.m. and the evening banquet at the Legion. And Lest We Forget Committee, there's a service on November 6th at the Trinity United Church, and also at the Silver Fox on November the 4th at 8. And that's a letter from the Duplicate Bridge. I believe they wanted some work done on one of their buildings, one of our buildings, and that's been looked after by staff. And this was an invitation from the Honourable Antoinette Perry, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Honourable Dennis King, our Premier, to service for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on September the 19th. And there was another commitment that I was attending, so we were unable to make that one. And Grassroots and Cowboy Boots invitation, and that was attended by most members of council and very, very successful. And the PEI Crime Stoppers, I believe, is coming up this Wednesday. That's in Charlottetown at the provincial coordinator. This was from Don Rod. So there's a number of other letters there, big long letters, but we're not going to take a whole lot of time here tonight. And yes, yeah. And my phone was ringing here. I thought I had to shut off, but I'll deal with it there. And we lost a great employee a couple of weeks ago, Marlene. She was with Melinda. She was with the Horticultural Department for 20 years and passed away suddenly, and we certainly pass on condolences to all members of the family. And the Doyle family attended as well. Clarence Doyle passed away, a long-time resident of our city. So it's been, yes, and our fellow councillor Justin had a rough week there a couple of weeks ago. A sad situation happened in your family with the accident. So we passed on our condolences to all members of your family as well. So, excuse me, as we go around the table, if councillors got any comments to make in regards, besides their city business, that opportunity will be there. Deputy Mayor McColeman, we'll start with the Financial Services Report. This, I understand, will be the last meeting before the municipal election.
Thank you, Your Worship, and members of council. Good evening. I'd like to thank Director Kristen Dunsford for preparing this evening's monthly report. And good evening to everyone on City Council, as well as the residents and businesses in the community and on live stream on behalf of the City of Summerside. My report tonight starts with our preliminary financial results as of August 31st, 2022, which projects a small surplus for our 22-23 fiscal year. Please be aware that these are very preliminary results and departments are continuing to review their projections to March 31st, 2023. We are starting to plan for the preparation of our 23-24 budget and will provide further details once the schedule has confirmed. Our utility accounts receivable as of October 7th, 2022 is reporting as follows. The total overdue balance is $154,900 compared to $164,800 at September 13th, 2022. Approximately 1.1% or 1,700 of the overdue balance is greater than 60 days past due. This compares to 2.2% or 3,600 at September 13th, 2022. As well, if residents have any questions regarding our utility customer portal, payment options, or our budget billing program, please see our website, www.summerside.ca, or you can email us at customer service, all lowercase together, at summerside.ca, or you can also call us at 902-432-1230. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present this report, and either myself or Chief Financial Officer Kristen Dunsford are available to take your questions, and as well for members of council and mayor. Within your package, there is the projection of funds as of August 31st, which gives a breakdown of revenue, expenses, and throughout our utility fund, what we have in revenue and expenses and the operating surplus. As well, in your package, you will find the capital projection as of August 31st, 2022 in the general fund, and that gives a good breakdown for the fiscal year. And that concludes my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor McColeman. What did you say the surplus was? I didn't catch it here in the...
The surplus is...
87,000.
thank you.
Sorry, again?
87,800.
87,800. Well, things appear to be going along very well. Okay, any questions for the Chair of Finance? I do not see any questions, so we'll move on. And you have something further to add?
Just one quick item,
Sure.
and I'm sure most councillors will agree, but we just wanted to thank our utilities crews for the great work that they did in the restoration, the recovery, and the frontline response that was given during Hurricane Fiona. I know that they did a great job, and that certainly is a comment that's come through loud and clear from the residents. So that's on behalf of the comments I was going to make.
Thank you, and all of the city staff,
And the staff.
the community service, and they all did a great job under the circumstances, and I'm hearing that a lot, and we thank the city staff for their great work. And some parts of Prince Edward Island, they haven't got any electricity, maybe a few right at this point, our number. So we're so fortunate to have our electric utility here in our city, and that certainly showed last couple of weeks. Okay, we'll continue on. Councillor McFeely is not with us tonight, but Councillor Adams is going to process the planning board resolutions and information.
Great, thank you, Your Worship. I'll be like Brian, when there's usually a lot of reading, I'll stay sitting closer to the mic. And any of these documents that we're referring to in these resolutions, they are available online. They're in the package online, and there's hard copies also available here at City Hall. The first one is Resolution COS 22-119, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas the Council of the City of Summerside is desirous of adopting Heritage Conservation Plan 2022 to provide policy guidance for Summerside Heritage Conservation Resources under the Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 and Heritage Places Protection Act. Therefore, be it resolved that Summerside Heritage Conservation Plan 2022 be adopted.
Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution? All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried.
Before I go on to the next one, Your Worship, I also should mention that Natalie Hashi, who is on the Heritage Conservation Committee, is here with us this evening. So
Okay.
I think she can vouch for the tremendous amount of work that it took to get here. So Resolution COS 22-120, moved by Councillor Barb Ramsey, seconded by myself. Whereas the Council of the City of Summerside is desirous of reading and approving Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 under the authority of the Municipal Government Act and Heritage Places Protection Act. And whereas a 5-person council-appointed Heritage Review Task Force has reviewed the current Summerside Heritage Conservation Plan from 2003 and Heritage Conservation Bylaw SS-20. And whereas in accordance with subsection 125 of the Municipal Government Act, copies of the proposed Heritage Conservation Plan 2022, Heritage Bylaw CS-37, and evaluation criteria and programs documents have been publicly advertised and made available to the public prior to and at the September 20 and October 4, 2022 council meetings. And whereas council read as approved a first time Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 at the September 20, 2022 meeting, and whereas a council public meeting was held to receive public comments on October 4th, 2022, therefore be it resolved that Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 be read a second time.
Moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried. I'm not sure if I mentioned at the start of the meeting, but we do have Councillor Snow is participating in the meeting online. You're hearing us, Councillor Snow? Hello, Councillor Snow, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
okay.
just on mute, so there's no
Anytime he wants to
background noise.
speak and anything, give us a signal of some kind, Councillor Snow. Okay,
Okay, I'll keep going, Your Worship. Resolution COS 22-121, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas the Council of the City of Summerside is desirous of reading and approving Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 under the Municipal Government Act and Heritage Places Protection Act. And whereas the Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 was read a first time at the council meeting dated September 20, 2022, and was read a second time at this council meeting, therefore be it resolved that Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 second reading be approved.
moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried.
Okay, and the next one would be, and the next one is Resolution COS 22-122, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas the Council of the City of Summerside is desirous of reading and approving Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 under the authority of the Municipal Government Act and Heritage Places Protection Act. And whereas Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 was read and approved by Council a first time on September 20, 2022, and whereas Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 was read and approved by Council a second time on October 17, 2022, therefore be it resolved that Summerside Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 be formally adopted.
Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution? All in favor, say aye. Contrary, nay. Carried.
I'll keep going. Resolution COS 22-123, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Barb Ramsey. Whereas the Council of the City of Summerside is desirous of adopting Heritage Conservation Evaluation Criteria and Programs, a document to score, recognize, provide financial grants and incentives for Summerside's designated heritage conservation resources under the Heritage Conservation Bylaw CS-37 and Heritage Places Protection Act. Therefore be it resolved that Summerside Heritage Conservation Evaluation Criteria and Program documents be adopted.
Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by Councillor Ramsey. Any questions on the resolution? Councillor McDougall.
Yeah, not a question, Your Worship, but I just wanted to thank the Heritage Task Force Committee as well as Thane Jenkins and his team for the great job and they did on this review. I think they've gone above and beyond, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Councillor Drawn.
Thank you, Your Worship. And I guess just to echo Councillor McDougall's comments, at the time of our last meeting, I hadn't read through the new bylaw word for word, but I have done that since, and it's just tremendous. I don't know what else to say. It was just such a thorough job that everybody did, and it's just fantastic and well done.
Thank you, Councillor Drawn. Okay, Councillor or Deputy Mayor McColeman.
Just to echo as well fellow councillors' comments, I think what really, really impressed me, and as Councillor Carey has read, there was a great deal of upfront work that took place and a lot of research, and with all of the other different organizations across the province and other areas. And I think that really gives such a strong foundation when the city is really, you know, so much around revitalization and our historic heritage, those kinds of things. I think it really does the community well to know that we've got such a good, strong foundational document. And thank you to everybody.
And I just have a little something.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you, Your Worship. And Natalie, thank you to you and your task force for doing the work that you did. It's a great document, and it's probably going to be there a long, long time, as the last one was. So thank you very much.
Okay, we're ready for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary nay? Carried. And I will add to that as well. Thank you very much for the great work, Natalie, you and your committee did, and the city staff. And it's great work. And also welcome tonight. Great to have you here. And we'd welcome as well Patrick McMahon. I understand he's a candidate in the municipal election coming up. Welcome, Patrick, to attend your observe the council meeting. And Councillor McDougall, I got to pass on, or we'll pass on condolences as well. You lost your brother-in-law suddenly within the last week. So we pass on condolences. So we're moving right along here. It's usually the case, the last meeting before an election, there's usually not as much on the agenda, but we've processed all those resolutions. Councillor Ramsey, you have the police services and fire and emergency planning. Chair, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and welcome everyone this evening. And I'm just going to go through this report, but before I do, I'd like to congratulate our new Chief of Police, Sinclair Walker, and our new Deputy Police Chief, Jason Blackhair. Congratulations to both those fine gentlemen. I know they're going to look after our city quite well. They've had some great training in the past, and we'll certainly miss Chief Poirier, but we know that our city's in great hands. I would also like to thank both police services and fire services for their remarkable response to Hurricane Fiona. They were on deck 24/7, and I, as chair of police and fire, couldn't be more proud of the work that they did and keeping council informed and on any task that they were up against, and gave us an opportunity to get out there and help as well. So just wanted to thank them for that. So with that, I'm going to go into my police report for September. Members continue to attend several regular meetings for the month, including Crime Stoppers, bridge meetings for people at risk and victims of family violence. And the Deputy Chief attended a function as aide-de-camp for the Lieutenant Governor. Constable Mike Stevenson attended a 2-week major crime investigative course put on by the Canadian Police College. Members received their annual mandatory firearms training. 2 members attended an appreciation luncheon at the Oval for the organizers of the Classic Car Night, which was a wonderful luncheon put on by Mayor and Council, and just appreciation for them and all they did this summer on Friday nights downtown. We had staff attend City Hall for the unveiling of the plaque for the Errol Thompson Park. I wasn't able to make that. I was away that day, and I just would like to extend my congratulations to Errol, and he and his family should be very proud. I did get out to see the sign in the park. Members attended the memorial service for Her Majesty in Summerside and Charlottetown. 2 members attended an intelligent collection meeting at the RCMP in Charlottetown, which included other policing partners to discuss the possibility of forming a provincial intelligence team. It should be mentioned how well the entire city worked together during Fiona. Dispatch Center received hundreds of calls from the public, and extra dispatchers were brought in to handle the high volume. Some of the occurrences for September, and then for the months previous, 2 months previous to that in comparison, calls for service were 676. Traffic accidents were 28. Reported crimes of assaults and threats were 31. All of those being up from August and July. Theft reports were 42, impaired driving offenses, 9, highway traffic charges, including speeding, were 51, break and enter reports were 10, and drug enforcement charges that don't include the joint forces charges were 6, which were up again from July and August. Any questions you might have on this report, you can either ask myself or Deputy Chief Blackhair. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the Chair of the Police Committee?
If not,
I don't see any.
okay, sorry.
Councillor McCall, or Deputy Mayor McColeman.
Not so much a question, but just, I know that yourself, Your Worship, and Councillor Barb as the Chair, the City of Summerside held a post-emergency partnership meeting within the last 10 days, I believe, and some of those partners that were there, Samaritan's Purse, Summerside Christian Council were there as a partnership framework, our police, our fire department, and it was just really to do a recap. And I think the thing that came through loud and clear from the attendees is that they really appreciated the partnership working when it really needed to work, and also with our city staff and senior management team and response services, that they did such a good job, and even with being up and running with power and electricity in such a shorter turnaround time, they were very, very appreciative. And I think, those relationships and partnerships work so well. Thanks.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and it was a really informative meeting, and I guess what I should put out there is Samaritan's Purse attended that meeting, and they want everyone to know that they will be there if you need them. Their phone number is certainly on my webpage, but if anybody wants to get a hold of me, we can certainly get the phone number for them. But they guaranteed that they would not leave Summerside or Prince Edward Island until every person that got hold of them and needed help, that they would be there to help them. They wouldn't leave until the job was done. So I just think that's so important to put out there for our residents in Summerside to know, and surrounding areas. They're here for the whole island, but they made a call to us here in Summerside and said, we want to come back and help. So that was pretty nice. So anyway, that's the story on Samaritan's Purse. I have the fire report to read, if I can go ahead with that.
I'll just add
Yes.
to that. I did attend that meeting with Councillor Ramsey and Deputy Mayor, and a good crowd there, probably about 25 people, just to go over everything that happened and to talk about all of the situations during the storm and how well the staff handled it. And it was great to get the support too from Samaritan's Purse and so many volunteers.
So many.
Continue
Summerside
on with
Christian
the fire
Council. I'll go on with the
services
fire.
report.
Yeah, I will. So this is September's fire report. There were 61 calls paged out during the month of September. 8 were medical first responder calls, 16 alarm panel calls, 4 structure fires, 6 electrical fires, 4 false alarm, 6 carbon monoxide calls, 4 indoor smell of smoke, 1 outdoor fire violation, 4 cancel calls, and 8 miscellaneous calls. That's really, really busy for the month. They usually do, I think, around 20 calls, so this is sort of out of the ordinary for sure. 61 calls. Firefighters trained for a total of 139.5 hours for the month of September. About 40 of the above mentioned 61 calls can be directly attributed to Fiona. Firefighters were kept very busy for a 24-hour period, dealing with smoke, sparks, carbon monoxide, and lots of winds like never seen before in Summerside. This month is a continuation of above average number of calls that are being answered. At the current pace, our department will surpass our busiest year ever that took place in 2019, the year we were ravaged by Dorian. So, you know, they're just finding it really, really busy. Remember, all of our firefighters are volunteers. So, you know, we always have to keep that in mind. They're just out there working so hard. Here, where are we? This is something we certainly do not want to see, but we are certainly trending towards a larger call volume. So that is the report for fire services.
Thank you. Any questions for the
If there's any
chair?
questions.
I just, Councillor Snow, how can do we know if he has any questions on any of the reports? I guess he can.
He can let
He'll let Brian
Brian
know, okay.
I will speak up, Your Worship, if there's something I have a question on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Snow.
Thank you.
And then my other report was for emergency measures, and Deputy Mayor talked about that. I was just going to talk about our meeting that we had with Samaritan's Purse and the Christian Council, but it's wonderful. We just want the information to get out there. It doesn't matter who gives it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ramsey. Okay, we'll continue on. Councillor Adams, you have the HR Legal Affairs and Culture Summerside, and you did the Planning Board. May have something on policy review, so you got a busy.
There's nothing for Policy and Bylaw Review Committee this month, Your Worship. There are a few things being worked on, but there's no report as such. We'll do the Human Resource Legal Affairs first. We want to welcome Sandra Zarvey. Sandra was hired as the executive assistant here at City Hall, and I think she's been busy already. She planned the Mayor's Medal of Honor awards evening and so on, and was here, and yeah, so she was right to work as soon as she got here. So, and she's a little bit familiar with the city because she worked in a few different areas beforehand. So it's nice to have Sandra on board. Advertisements are currently underway for a steno receptionist in tech services. Applications are being received for volunteer firefighters, and Credit Union Place is looking to hire lifeguards. As Councillor Ramsey mentioned, congratulations to Police Chief retired Dave Poirier, and now the new police chief, Sinclair Walker, and as recently announced today, also congratulations to our deputy chief, Jason Blackier. So it's been busy across the road.
If I could just mention something before you move into your next part there, but
Sure.
And I think you did mention it, but the organization for the Mayor's Medal of Honor to Warren Ellis, we pass on congratulations. We had a full hall here that night. It was a great evening, and we certainly thank Warren for his tremendous contribution to raising dollars for the hospital, like about $15 million over the last number of years. And we certainly want to pass on again congratulations and thank you. Back to you, Councillor Adams.
Okay, and for the Culture Summerside report, Your Worship, these are Summerside's activities for Culture Summerside for mid-September to mid-October, so up to date. So the 22nd Historic Ghost Walk will be presented on Thursday, October 20th from 6:30 till 8 p.m. and tickets are $10, and I know that's always a fun one. The exhibition Canadian Cities and Viking Pottery, a joint exhibit with Karen Melzer and Andrew Melzer, featuring their two disciplines of pottery and painting, will be at the Lafergie Cultural Center for October and November. In marking the 100th anniversary of the Prince County Soldiers Monument, Culture Summerside, in community partnership with the Lest We Forget Committee, will present the program titled A Symbol of Courage on November 9th. Symbol of Courage will be an evening of music and drama on stage at the Harbourfront Theatre. Tickets for the evening will be complimentary and donations accepted for the Salvation Army Food Bank and the Soup Kitchen. So that's a complimentary evening for the show, and just they're asking donations for the food bank and the soup kitchen. But you do have to call to get tickets, so 432-1298 for more information. Culture Summerside and Wide Heritage Properties, Inc. are currently developing and submitting grant applications to a number of programs that have deadlines in late October. The fall tourism season has continued into October for the sites. Along with handling individual tour requests, Culture Summerside staff are delivering tours of the Summerside Interpretive Center and the P.I. Fox Museum on Saturdays to booked coach tours. In addition to our current bus tour bookings, extra tours have been added to the schedule. That's because of the ongoing cleanup in other parts of the island. So they sort of came this way instead of heading other areas that had damage. Culture Summerside program and writer Marlene Campbell is one of 3 island playwrights that have been selected through a competitive process to be a part of the Fresh from the Island, a New Works Festival at the King's Playhouse. So congratulations to Marlene, as she's going to have the opportunity to work with professional directors, actors, and there'll be a final staged public reading at the King's Playhouse stage. And I'd watch the Culture Summerside social media for that, because they're always good to get the dates out when things are going on. And that's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any questions for the chair of 3 or 4 committees? Just for I do not see any question lights on, so thank you very much.
Just a comment.
Go ahead, sorry, I didn't see your light. Just hit your microphone light there.
Just on the point about the tours, the coach tours, that's excellent. Like, I mean, for additional revenue, and there's such a good market there.
And it's also like Lori and her staff are so adaptive to being able to turn around and make it work, like on a moment's notice. So that's like, that's a big shout out to them that they're getting those calls and being asked to do that, so.
And arrangements are made as well for Halloween, you had mentioned there. But I was just wondering, number of years we used to have a resolution for a curfew, but I think it's in place for 8 o'clock every Halloween. So for 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Usually police services always does a thing.
It's on a
and
Monday.
Puts it out,
It's on a Monday this year anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. We'll continue on. I believe we have Councillor McDougall. How's your street sweeper work?
Great, awesome. Picking up leaves these days. I have a report here by Director Greg Goody. The sewage treatment major maintenance was carried out throughout the month. Traffic center line painting has progressed throughout the city and will be completed at the end of October. Driveway culvert repairs are completed for the year. The street sweeping continues into early November for leaf pickup. The fire hydrant flushing and repairs for the year has been completed. Fiona debris pickup program is ongoing for curbside and will continue into the first week of November. The program will be completed before November 11th. Residents are reminded to call their address in for a pickup request once the curbside work is completed. The number is 902-432-1268, the main reception desk for municipal services. The disposal site for debris continues to be open for residents until the end of October. The site is being chipped for use in biomass waste plants as heat provided. The material is clean of dirt and mud. The lift station has been serviced for pump operations this month. Traffic signage and street signage is being repaired as the damage from Fiona becomes a memory. The Hurricane Fiona occurred on September 24th, and the days preceding the storm and after the storm was all in efforts in preparedness and restoration. Prepping generators, making sure heavy equipment was ready Catch basins were clear of debris for heavy rain, and finally getting outsourced contracting resources booked for the need. The new sidewalk machine has arrived and will be in use for the upcoming snow season. The water and sewer utilities, 24 water samples were taken and clear of bacteria, and that's a good thing. I know the province is asking everybody and the outside to make sure they test their wells. 18 chlorination samples taken, and they're all within parameters. 16 new water services turned on this month, sewer calls, and so on. And just to end that off, Your Worship, I want to say a big thank you to city staff, not only municipal works and electrical, but it starts right from the top down, and to be organized and the way everything came together, we were ready, and the EMO, the whole works. So it makes a fellow feel good that we were ready to react to that. I know I was setting up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I figured my windows were coming in. And when that branch hit that skylight, like a dart, I was in the living room. Ben Johnson couldn't have caught me. Anyway, it was a wicked night, and so I just want to say thanks to everybody that contributed to the cleanup. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Any questions? Councillor Ramsey, and then Councillor Adams. Sorry.
Okay, I just want to, you know, Bruce, our emergency measures plan, and I guess you know, our CAO, Rob, worked really, really hard on it, as well as myself, but not, and everybody else involved, but the mayor pushed us at least once a month. How's that plan coming? How's that plan coming? So I appreciate your push on that, Basil, and I know, or Your Worship.
Basil.
I know how important that was to you, and it was to all council. So thank you, and thank you, Bruce.
And I just wanted to pass on condolences to the family of Melinda. And I want to point out that when Fiona, the next morning, we set up the Warman Center in the St. Leonard Community Center, and Councillor Ramsey and myself were out there trying to help people that were coming in, and Melinda was the one there that was running and said she needed a bigger pot, and no, it wasn't, you know, new cattle, this, and she just took off and got it. So really sad to hear her in the news. So, and as well, I know you mentioned a couple, but one that we missed was Scott Lundrigan. He was a retired police officer, RCMP officer, just lived up the street from me. A great guy and a fine example of a police officer. We pass condolences on to the family.
Gone too
Thank
young. And I think he was in charge of, after retirement from the police, I think he ran the police's, the Crime Stoppers. And then he worked at the police academy as well as an instructor. So, yeah, it's a shame that he's gone. Anyway, anything further?
I just want to mention that, you know, so many times we do mention people and never want to ever forget anyone, you know, and it's anyway, and we do sometimes, but never want to. So just for the folks out there that ever think that we would ever forget anyone intentionally or not mention someone, I just wanted to make that clear.
Councillor Adams, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, just wondering, maybe Councillor Bruce, since the city doesn't have a wood chipper, and, you know, it's come to our attention over and over again that these events are going to probably be more often, happening more often, is that something that the city could maybe look at during budget discussions in order to buy one instead of renting it or getting somebody?
I'm sure that's probably something that's on their mind, and they'd have to do the cost versus, you know, renting. And but
I had a few people ask me like how the city went about it, so anyway, and I just confirmed with
and it's great that they can do that for the biomass, be able to feed that, so thank you.
Okay, that's everything then, Councillor Adams? who's doing the electrical for, Councillor McDougall, Councillor Campbell is unable to be with us?
Yes, Your Worship, thank you. Councillor Campbell called me last evening. He has an appointment this evening and couldn't be here, and asked me to do his report. So this was from Director Greg Goody. The power plant technicians maintenance consisted of boardwalk lighting maintenance, 5 lights repaired this month, 2 of them twice, and traffic loops at McEwen and Water Street were repaired. Traffic lights at Sobeys, Ryan Street, and Walker Street on Granville were repaired for this month. And genset number 8 maintenance for the lube and oil change, repaired air leak on the genset number 5. Power plant engine, cooling, pond system, wiring repaired, and all standby gensets were checked and maintained prior to Fiona occurrence on September 24th. The Sunbank Energy Project sustained a small amount of damage from Hurricane Fiona, is in the process of being assessed and remediated. Approximately 100 solar panels were damaged out of 14,000 plus installed. The credit union place solar system did not suffer any damage. Starlight subdivision building were energized for permits approved. This month, the electric utility had challenges presented from Hurricane Fiona throughout all aspects of the operations, with the running of generators, fixing of distribution circuits, repairing the wind farm collector line, and coordinating customer service requests for power and reconnects. Preparedness for the storm prior, which keeps resources very busy the week before and the week after the hurricane. Fiona power restoration timeline. Week before hurricane arrival, book line resources to be on hand for restoration along with tree removal crews. Made sure all generators were in good working order and topped up with fuel for 72-hour runtime. And that was a week of 19th to 23rd. So September 24th, running of the engines to supply power to those that are still could receive power within the city. And September 25th, restoration work start, and by the end of the day, 70% of the city was restored. That's unbelievable. September 26th, restoration continues, and by the end of day, 90% of the city is restored. September 27th, 99% of the city restored. September 28th, small singular item being prepared and wind farm line repaired. September 29th, finalized wind farm line repairs and down to final few of singular items, and 99.9 restored. September 30th, wind farm operational and 2 crews released to MECL for assistance along with the 4 contracting crews. October 1st through to October 6th, restoring broken mast hookups after electricians repairs. And October 7th, crews recalled from MECL back to regular operations on October 11th. And just a few stats, 30% of our electricity came from wind this month. The generator run hours were 85 hours. And 134 service calls for electricity customers. Hurricane Fiona occurred on the 24th. 26 new electric customers and service upgrades completed this month. 31 new poles were installed and 17 removed. 12 transformers were installed and 9 removed. So Councillor Campbell just wanted me to pass along his thanks to the electric department and everybody for the great job they did in getting the power up as fast as they could. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further?
I do. I have one thing that I want to, it's a notice of motion for the next council meeting, which will be held on November 21st. As you're all aware, Fiona, this brings to light, and as we're going knocking on doors, this has come up a number of times, of why aren't we, and this is the 600 or 700 Maritime Electric customers that are within the city of Summerside, and they're asking why are we not on city of Summerside power? And I keep telling them, each council, this council has addressed it and had it on the Premier's desk, had the Premier in here. We also, the last council had it in the Premier's hands. And so what I would like to do tonight, Your Worship, is serve notice of a motion for next month, asking that the next council basically set up a review process to investigate how the maritime electric customers within the city of Summerside become part of the Summerside Electric.
Okay.
It's basic.
So,
So it's just a notice of motion. So
thank you. So that'll be on the agenda for the
November 21st.
Well, November 20, can I?
Go
So
ahead.
November 21st, though, if we're not elected, we will still be here November 21st meeting. So would you want it on December's meeting? Are you
No.
wanting it for
I
new
want it-
council?
I want it for the new council. It's,
Whoever the new
yeah,
council
I'm asking.
But
the
that
new
would
council.
be December. They won't be here in November. They don't
No,
come in.
no.
They're not sworn in until December.
This is going to be brought forth on the November 21st meeting.
Oh, to move
Ask-
forward. Okay,
move
sorry.
forward, yeah.
Sorry. Yes, sorry, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you,
Any other
Bruce.
questions?
Any comments or questions for the chair? We certainly look forward to participating in that because it's been an ongoing discussion for many years or months.
Yes.
And we've got to try and find a way, some way, shape or form, but we need the support of the province.
Yes, and
And
you
there's
know,
the
when
support of
the
Maritime Electric.
amalgamation process went through, Your Worship, it read that the new city of Summerside was responsible for all services.
Right.
Everything was included except the electrical grid. And then, so that should have happened that way. But after that, I believe they set the new Electricity Act, and that took it away, so. Something has to happen legislation-wise, so, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McDougall. Okay, we're moving right along here. Councillor Duran, you have Tech Services report?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. A couple things beyond that, I guess, but I'll start with the report. And thank you to Director of Tech Services, Aaron McDonald, for preparing this for the month. The 2022 construction season continues. The construction and the inspection of these jobs will continue through the fall. The water main replacement work continues on the Central Street project, and the reinstatement of the lower sections have finally happened. The crews have now moved above Maple Avenue. The sewer replacement project is almost completed on Chandler, and they will then move to Cedar. The paving and sidewalk projects are almost completed. The status of those projects, as well as other projects, are updated weekly on our website. The infill tender started earlier, and they are projected to start back on Glen Drive shortly. This project will continue into the fall. The storm project on Glover Shore Road started this month and is progressing along nicely. The continuation of the active transportation trail is underway on Greenwood Drive from Willow down to Water Street. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments and building permits to be issued for this year. Staff have been busy again this month with a few planning-related items brought before council. 9 building permits with a value of a little over $0.6 million were issued for the month of September, so 600,000, with a total year-to-date of 182 permits and a value of 41.9 million. 0.98 million actually, so that's pretty close to 42. They're getting into the hundredths of the millions here, so they're, yeah, technical. It's up at Technical Services. We issued 2 permits for the change of use for home-based business, 1 permit for a residential alteration. We also issued 2 permits for semi-detached, and we also issued 1 permit for signage, and as well as 3 for commercial alterations or fit-ups. Developers are stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for 2022. Couple months left. Citizens are also encouraged to continue to ask for assistance with their projects that they may still have planned for the remainder of 2022. And that concludes the Technical Services report for, I guess, September through October.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. Any questions? Councillor Ramsey?
Yes, I do. And Councillor Duran, you may not be able to answer this, and I don't know if John Paul, if you're, but I'm getting questions regarding Central Street and when's it going to be done, and not so much when's it going to be done, but when are they going to repair the road? where it is already completed? And are they waiting for the whole thing to be done and then they're gonna go over it? And is that, because that's what I assumed.
I wouldn't want to answer that because I'm not up to date on it, so my answer might be
I think
2 answers old, so I don't want to give the wrong.
CAO might have a,
The last report we got was that the project will be completed by the end of the paving season, which is in November.
okay,
And they're doing some patch coating now, and the final coat will happen all at once, I'm told.
okay,
My information's about 2 weeks old, the last time I talked to Aaron about it, but that's roughly
Okay.
where we were when I spoke to him
that's
last.
great.
And that's about as, I think I was 3 weeks ago, so.
But it's not gonna be left like that for the whole winter, I guess.
It's
is-
not
and
the
then-
plan,
It's not the plan.
but that doesn't mean they don't run into issues
Right.
over the next couple of weeks. That can always occur, so
Right.
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, thank you.
And I had also asked Aaron, actually, just out of curiosity, not related to that, but I had asked him if it looked like the hurricane kind of put any wrenches into anything that the department had going. And he said crews were back working on 4 of our projects before the week was over, even though a lot of those crew members didn't have power at their own homes. So he said we might have missed 2 days, so the hurricane didn't really affect the projects that we had on. So that was kind of surprising to hear, but not surprising at the same time. Good cruise.
Anything further?
Yeah, just a couple of things I wanted to mention. I did get, during that hurricane event, I would say, it must have been literally hundreds of messages and questions just about the hurricane and what we were doing. And I tried to respond to every single one of them, but I'm sure a few fell between the cracks, so I just wanted to apologize for that. But most of their messages were words of support for staff and really 99% of those messages were good positive things and just wanted to pass that on to staff. Bruce and I had our little open house on Saturday and it was fairly well attended, and I just wanted to send a thanks out to, it was Saturday and I got a call Friday from Katie at Compton's Farm Market, and she heard that we were putting it on and they wanted to provide donuts for any residents that came in, and there was a ton of donuts that they let us put out for our people, for our attendees. And also Bruce went to get coffee at McDonald's and they donated that as well, two big boxes of coffee, not to us but to our residents, so it was nice for that. I guess that's all I had. I had a note here, when I forget who it was, I guess it was Councillor Bruce, who just kind of indicated that, you know, we have 1 meeting or so left, so I just wanted to, I don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but there's a chance I might not be here, and there's a chance none of us will be here, but I just wanted to, for that reason, just thank everybody here and all the residents for in Ward 2 and throughout the city, really, for the last 4 years. It's hope to be back, but it's been an honor, so thanks to everybody and everybody.
Thank you.
So that's all I have.
Thank you, Councillor Drawn. Good job. It's been an interesting 4 years. This council, in my opinion, accomplished a lot. We had to deal with 2 hurricanes, Hurricane Dorian, and Hurricane Fiona, and in the middle of the whole thing, COVID. That was difficult. Plus, in the middle of the COVID, we had so many meetings and so many requests for development, and council still held the meetings, whether it was online or Zoom or you name it, but we processed the business, and I think Brian knows for a fact that we probably had twice as many meetings this year as other years. So it has been a very, very busy time for all members of council with so many things going on. We still have another report. Somebody's given the community services. Councillor Snow, or you got Councillor Adams?
Councillor Adams is going to read it in for me just because I am online and probably don't sound my normal self.
Oh, you sound loud and clear.
Well, Councillor Adams has agreed to, so I'll let her go, and then maybe just at the end, I'll just say something brief.
Sure. Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Your Worship. The month of September began with an arena conversion following the Bryan Adams concert, where crews worked through the night to prepare the arena floor for the PCH Foundation fundraiser, Grassroots and Cowboy Boots. Later that month, the ice went in the Island Petroleum Energy Center in advance to the Summerside Western Capital's home opener. Construction on the active transportation lane extension on Greenwood Drive began, which will go from Pope Road, Greenwood Drive intersection all the way down to the boardwalk. This will connect residents north to south. This paired with the Confederation Trail, which runs east to west through the I'm not sure, it's just a mistake on the thing. So it'd be a simple way to commute through the city. Corey's report. Retired NHLer Errol Thompson was honored with the naming of the Errol Thompson Park in St. Elners. It was formerly known as Fairview Park. Growing up in St. Elners, Errol began his hockey career right here in Summerside. He has made a significant impact to the community over the years. Throughout his 10-year career in the National Hockey League, Errol tallied 393 points in 599 games with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Detroit Red Wings, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fall programming has kicked into high gear in the Aquatic Center, with registration for the fall edition of swimming lessons being announced, which will begin in late October. There are sensory swims, masters, parent and taught, and bronze medallion all began as well and will continue through September and into October. The Adult Sports Social Club kicked off in the Dome with over 80 participants. Staff were thrilled with the interest and look forward to hosting more of these types of events. Active Living kicked off their fall programming with Come Try Disc Golf and Autumn Strolls. Autumn Strolls was put on a little bit of a hold there for Fiona, but I think it's good again. Stay tuned for more programming from Active Living. The Veterans Convention Center had 22 bookings for the month and 9 birthday parties. This is slightly down compared to the usual, as Hurricane Fiona caused several cancellations. To that point, Hurricane Fiona caused the department to close all parks and green spaces in the city as crews continued cleanup. St. Elners Community Center served as a warming shelter for those with power during and following the hurricane. Miraculously, staff were able to save the ice in the Gerard Turk-Gallant Arena, with power being out for only being within a day of the outage. For nearly a week, the Gerard Turk-Gallant Arena was the only ice surface on the island, and we were certainly in high demand with several visitors, including Charlottetown Islanders, Kensington Wild, Charlottetown Knights, along with Summerside's very own Western Capitals, of course. And I think that is it. And Councillor Corey, you want to add something?
Councillor Ramsey, you had a question?
Yes, well, it's not a question. It's just the Adult Sports Social Club. A few months ago, I think back in the summer, my nephew Nick and his friend Serena, who's a lawyer here in Summerside, came to me and wanted to open or start this program. I thought it was a wonderful idea for people their age. They're like 30, 40, around that age group, and they just said there's not a lot going on in Summerside for this program. I then set up a meeting with John Paul and brought them to the meeting, and I think, John Paul, at the time you were thrilled. And it's worked out. They have 80 participants. They had to refuse some. There were so many of them. They did a tryout, I think, in June of two separate weeks. And there were so many people that came and so many people signed up. And now it's up and running and it's wonderful. Everybody's really happy and they're enjoying it, and they're renting the Dome and or paying for their registration, I think, which is a little bit of cash for the city, and buying their own supplies. And anyway, I just wanted to thank Nick and Serena for what they did, because it takes community-minded people like that to start these programs, and it really helps the city. And anyway, I'm just thrilled that they did it, and it seems to be going really well. I just want to thank them.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
So if there are no further questions,
Your Worship, just
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
go ahead, Councillor Snow.
Just because it's my report, and I just wanted to make sure that I did have a few things I wanted to mention. I just want to start by thanking city staff for all their hard work during Fiona. Right now I'm traveling for some work commitments and have been for the last few weeks back and forth to different parts of the country actually, and everywhere I went, people know about the hurricane and the struggles we've had on PEI with power. But I've been quick to let everybody know how well we've rebounded and how hard our city staff worked and how fortunate we are to have our own electric utility and be able to get back online so quick compared to the rest of the province. So I just really want to thank the staff because it is absolutely amazing how quick we're able to rebound from that. And then lastly, I just want to, as Councillor Duran had mentioned earlier, the last 4 years have been very rewarding. Of course, I've put my name forward and look forward to Election Day, but I want to wish all the candidates that either have decided to run or may decide to run the best of luck. It is a rewarding experience. Anybody that puts their name forward and willing to give back to the city, it's a great honor. So that's it.
Thank you, Councillor Snow. And Councillor or Deputy Mayor McColeman, you have a question? Comment?
I did have a few points for downtown Summerside, and I didn't know where to fit them in the report, so if I might be able to.
Sure.
By the time we get into November, some of these will have already been enacted, but downtown Summerside, they certainly will be offering once again as an initiative, Witches on Water Street. And that is greatly supported by the merchants and organizations, guardians of the children, those kinds of things. It's really a very well-attended event. Another thing that will be coming up is the Remembrance Day service at the Cup. That will be something for our veterans with respect and honor. As well, that evening, the Veterans Banquet at the Legion, and that's something that the city always supports. Another thing that's coming up, and I was waiting to see if Councillor Barban, you might have more about the Santa Claus Parade that will be coming, and I'll leave that to you. But one of the things that was discussed is that there is a need for floats, and if anybody, organizations, businesses or whatnot, we really want to see that be a lot of community spirit. So I'll just let you touch on that if you want. Another thing that's coming up a little bit later on will be a very nice through downtown Summerside and explore Summerside, I believe, classic Yuletide festival that will be taking place in Memorial Square. And I won't give any of the details, but that will be something, and I believe it's going to be extended for about 3 weeks. So I'm saying all of that because one resident that I met said, you know, there's so many things to do in Summerside, I find it hard to pick which one if they're, you know, going on. So there's a lot of things being worked on. And one final thing that we found out from our post debrief with our partners for the response was that there definitely still needs to be a warming center in downtown Summerside in the center core. We had that with the fire station, #1, but because of Dorian, we had to lose that. And I do hear from seniors who feel that that's very important for them because many of them could not get to St. Elner's or Wilmot, so we really need to push for that third one in the center of the town. And I guess that's it. I just wanted to mention those things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. So we've got one more report, I believe. Pardon? Economic development? Councillor Drawn, you're going to give that report for your fellow as co-chair of the department. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. This is my first time closing the night down with the report, so I'll go as fast as I can. Thank you to Mike Thatuska for preparing the report this month. It's been a steady month for the department, finishing up some research reports, business directory, and some significant capital projects to move forward on. I would first like to announce that the department was able to secure the Economic Developers Association of Canada's National Conference for next September.
Hear, hear. It's a big one.
Yeah, winning this winning this competition. Looks like there's a typo in this one too. It's a great win for Summerside with over 250 delegates from across the country here in town for over 4 days in the shoulder season of our tourism market. It's anticipated to generate significant economic impact for our local business and regional partners, and pleased to have been awarded this highly sought-after conference. Their business retention and expansion engagement in the department's ongoing efforts to support local business, understand their issues and opportunities, the department is gearing up to undertake its third BR&E survey. This survey is critically important to our city to ensure we understand the challenges and opportunities of our business, to ensure we stay connected and seize on opportunities through this important survey and understand how we can assist in moving our economy forward in a strategic way. Our goal is, as always, is to engage businesses and report on observations generalizable. That's what it says. To the generalizable to the broader business community, while also allowing for the identification of potential expansion or retention opportunities, which staff can follow up on business by business. And that concludes the report, generalizable.
Thank you, Councillor Duran, for that report.
Mike, yes. Yes.
So,
I'm sorry.
I was just going to mention that I remember that economic development conference that was here probably 10 years ago, and for some reason or other, people like to come to Prince Edward Island, and that's the shoulder season, which is great, shoulder tourism season. And I think they had over 300 here that time, and you like to have the numbers will be high, which is great. I think it's a 4-day convention, so they'll come a few days early and stay a few days later. So it's going to be a real shot in the arm for the economy of Summerside, and a great way to promote our city. They'll obviously, all of them will want to see our new solar farm and all of the other things that we got here in our great little city that we've managed to get over the years because of the good cooperation with the other two orders of government, whether it's the credit union places and you name it, to get, you can do a lot of things with 33-cent dollars. And we've gotten a lot of things here in the city, including those facilities, but including infrastructure projects, you know, for our water and sewer and those kinds of things. So there'll be a big crowd coming for this conference, and we look forward to meeting them.
Yeah, they're expecting over 250, so that could mean,
That's great.
Yeah.
could mean over 300. We don't
Yeah.
know, so, yeah.
And I also, just so this, before I
No,
finish
go.
up, I understand from talking with Mike Tasuska, and we got to commend him and Mike, our department, for winning that bid, because a lot of places in the country are trying to get that. But it's certainly, we commend him for going after that, and they did a great job with their bid.
Yeah, Mike and Neil, I guess they're a two-man operation up here, and they know how to get stuff done. That's
They do.
without a doubt, yeah. And they've shown us time and time again that
Yes.
that's the case, yeah.
And sometimes they have to work at it a long time before they can, and I know they got a number of other major big projects in the hopper that they're working on, but not prepared to announce at this point, but because they got a few more I's to dot
Yeah,
or cross.
They tend to not announce or hint at announcing until everything's for sure.
Signed, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
we've got two
practice.
other lights on here for questions, I believe. Councillor Ramsey and then Deputy Mayor.
But my question
Yes.
is just a sort of a statement, not anything to do with economic development. It's to follow up on Norma's so
Go ahead.
is that okay?
Sure.
All right, I just wanted to make note that the Santa Claus Parade put on by the Summerside Fire Services will be held December 2nd this year, because Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus are busy making toys. So it was supposed to be November 25th. It's always the last Friday in November. But again, Mr. and Mrs. Claus are busy, so they're not available until December 2nd. So for anybody out there that's planning the parade, that's when it's going to be. And yes, we are looking for floats, and we're having our first meeting this week coming. So I guess, but it's a good opportunity to mention it tonight, Councillor McColeman, because
Just to
it
get
kind of
people
gives
thinking.
people a little bit of a head start or a heads up on
I
it. So.
understand it could be the real Santa this year.
It is, and Mr. and Mrs. Claus, and yeah, and she's coming too, she said, so that's,
great.
yeah, so
Just because of
anyway.
COVID, they really wanted to get out together.
Oh,
so-
together, yeah. So
they're only,
anyway, that's December 2nd at 6 o'clock on, it's a Friday evening, so.
We'll have our guitars.
We might have our guitars, and again, we're going to be going right over to the Memorial Park, or as
Yuletide.
for a Yuletide evening. So anyway, it's going to be a fun evening. So just wasn't going to talk about that tonight, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Weather
Thank you.
permitting, eh?
Weather permit, we're going either way. We're going either way.
there's
Snowstorm,
only,
we'll be there.
There's only one Santa and Mrs. Claus, so
Yeah.
they may have been double booked. That's probably maybe why they.
Well, no,
changed the
they're
date.
busy making toys. They just can't get away that night.
They're
They
on a
know,
deadline.
yeah. So they're coming, they're off.
I
They
guess-
took,
okay,
they
story
took the
checks out.
second off. They took December 2nd off, and they'll be there, Justin.
No more questions.
Okay, I believe,
Just to comment on the conference for the Economic Development Association, that might be another thing with Explore Summerside, that they might be able to do some partnering. With that many delegates coming, there might be some things that we can do to really, be some economic and business drivers with the downtown and different events. And I think that's great.
Excellent.
on that as well, just to, then we'll go to Councillor Adams, but I understand from talking with Mike that maybe there are quite a few or a number of people from other countries may attend that as well, which would be great. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll continue on. I believe Councillor Adams, you're next.
I will sit.
Yeah, mine's not for Councillor Justin,
All
so
right, I'll
I
sit.
just. yeah,
Good luck,
so you
everybody,
can sit
and
down.
next month.
I just wanted, before we left, I just wanted to also note that it was left out of the human resource report, likely because he had done it before his appointment. But our new CAO, welcome to, yeah, we left that out of the report, but probably because he did it before he was appointed. So, yeah, so welcome to our newly appointed CAO, Gordon McFarland. Not a new face. He's been around for, I think, 17 years or so. So he's not with us this evening because he had a prior commitment before he was appointed to the position. So I'm sure he's tuning in because he would love to listen to us. So yeah. So, and in his place while he's away is our acting CAO, Jean-Paul. So yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Anyways, so I just wanted to mention that because it was
And
left
it's
out.
great now we're getting to the point where we had so many with holidays and resignation this summer for CAO, we had so many, and sickness, we had so many acting and deputy acting and acting deputies. And so we're sort of getting, look, with the permanent police chief and the permanent deputy chief. And we've got a permanent CAO, even though the acting one is filling in tonight.
Yeah.
And same with Mr. Harlick here, he's acting director of human resources, but the CAO will be doing those appointments, so we're getting back to normal. And it has been an interesting year with COVID and the movings around, but things are moving forward. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, I just also, with Councillor Carey mentioning the information on the new incoming CAO, just for the benefit of our residents, we know there were excellent candidates, internal and external. And I know, and I really appreciated how the HR committee through Councillor Carey and Councillor Bruce, really pulled those meetings and everything together, because we did that even when Fiona was happening. Some of those were scheduled, so we had to work really, really hard. But the thing that I want to point out is just, it's amazing when you see people's experiences, their credentials, many of the things that they've delivered on as far as job. It's just not a willy-nilly type of situation, and we had packets on each one of them. So it was a very detailed effort, and I want to compliment Council for the great job, and Mayor, that was done on that.
It's great to see so many people wanting to come to work with the city of Summerside. And like I said, we passed on last summer, congratulations to our former CAO, who was appointed and to the vice president of Memorial University, Rob Philpott. So he's off and working there now. I believe we've gotten to the end of the agenda. If there is nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Ramsey and seconded by Councillor McDougall. All in favour? Aye. Contrary nay. We'll give